Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the stunning place, Melrose House, home of the Royal Zoological Society of Scotland on its most special of occasions. My name is Stuart Struthers, a celebrant from the Humanist Society of Scotland, and I'm delighted that Lindsay and Ewan have invited me here to conduct the wedding ceremony today. As friends and family, we're gathered here today to help them celebrate this special day as they make their public declarations of love to one another in front of you, their family and friends. Today they begin a new chapter in their lives together as a married couple, and we're here to celebrate this in a fitting and meaningful way. Lindsay and Ewan have chosen a humanist wedding for their service today, as this allows them to legally conduct their wedding in a way that's personal and meaningful to them. For those of you who may be unfamiliar with a humanist wedding ceremony, shortly, as is tradition, I'll be asking you to take all your clothes off as we conduct optional. Humanism is a non-religious and ethical lifestyle. It's about respecting and caring for each other, that we can all lead good and worthwhile lives guided by compassion and reason. And these are values that are true to Lindsay and Ewan. But what makes this ceremony really different is they haven't just chosen this fantastic venue, the stunning dresses that are being worn and the food and entertainment you'll enjoy later. But they've either chosen or created every element of today's ceremony, from the words I say to our music choices, from the vows they'll make to each other and the music you'll hear. It's their way to show that today is a fitting, meaningful, personal and memorable occasion for everyone, and they're delighted to welcome you all here today. So before we progress any further, let me formally introduce you to the wedding party. I'm sure you'll be familiar with most of them, but if not, here we go. On Ewan's left are his best men, Andy and Murray. Andy and Ewan first met when they had a head-on bike collision as kids. This was the last time Andy made Ewan cry. And Ewan is hoping that statement is still true after the best men's matches. Ewan and Murray met at high school, and Murray is the type of friend Ewan can always trust to speak his mind, even though sometimes he wishes he wouldn't. Our ushers, who are now seated at the back, who may have welcomed you right, are Steve and Ryan. Ewan met both Steve and Ryan at high school, and they've been good friends ever since. Steve is described as the guy with all the gear, but no idea. And Ryan, he's the guy who I'm told is really generous at the bar.
Which one is he?
On Lindsay right are her bridesmaids. Laura Christie is Lindsay's maid of honour today. Lindsay describes her as a supportive and loyal friend who will go above and beyond for the people in her life. Next to her is Laura Galloway. Well, throughout the wedding planning, Laura's always knew the right thing to say. Her kind and calming personality always came through just at the right moment. Next to her is Emily. Lindsay describes her as such fun and a caring wife and mother. She's been so touched by what Emily, Steve and baby James have together and hopes her and Ewan will have that in their marriage too. And finally, there's Elliot, who's our junior bridesmaid. Lindsay is so proud to have her in a dress today and not a football strip. She says that Elliot makes her laugh every single day, and she always looks forward to getting her weekly phone call from Elliot inviting her to hang out. Nothing has brought her more joy than being an auntie. And the final part of our wedding party are Ewan's mum and stepdad, Elaine and Steve, and his dad and stepmum, David and Janet. And Lindsay's mum and dad, Pat and Alec, and it's Alec who proudly walked his daughter down the aisle. And then there's all of you. Many of you are local and some have travelled slightly longer, with a special mention to Lindsay's aunts, Margaret and Kathy, who've travelled all the way from Canada. And wherever you've come from, the efforts you've made to be here are very much recognised by Lindsay and Ewan, and they're delighted to see you all here today. When they exchange their wedding vows, it means a great deal to them that they're able to do this in the presence of the people that they care about and they love, who are important in their lives, and that's you, their friends and family. Your presence adds extra significance to today. As today is one of celebration, and we're here to do things appropriate at such an important occasion. To make solemn and legal vows, but also to eat and to chat, to sing and dance, have a drink or two, or maybe three. To make new friends and to catch up with old friends. But most of all, to celebrate the marriage of Lindsay and Ewan. And I hope you all relax throughout the day, and most of all, you enjoy yourselves. And so, we start off our ceremony. I'd like to invite with Lindsay and Ewan to move to our table behind me, where they're going to light a candle each. These candles once lit represent Lindsay and Ewan's unique identity and individuality of life, light and warmth. And later in the ceremony, once married, I'll invite them to light the third candle together, representing their marriage and union. And so now, time for some culture. And to set a romantic tone, I'd like to welcome forward Lindsay's brother Ewan, who's put together a few classic love songs for us to hear. Ewan, please come forward.
Waking up to kiss you, nobody's there. Smell of your perfume still stuck in the air. It's hard. Yesterday I thought I saw your shadow running round. It's funny how things never change in this old town. So far from the stars. I don't want to tell you everything, words I never got to say the first time around. And I remember everything from when we were the children playing in this fairground. Wish I was there with you now. If the whole world was watching, I'd still dance with you. Drive highways and byways to be there with you. Over and over, the same old truth. Everything comes back to you. When the night has come and the land is dark and the moon is the only light we'll see. No, I won't be afraid. Oh, I won't be afraid. Just as long as you stand by me. Darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. If the sky that we look upon should tumble and fall, or the mountain should crumble to the sea, I won't cry, I won't cry, oh, I won't shed a tear, just as long as you stand by me. There you see her, sitting there across the way. She don't got a lot to say, but there's something about her. And you don't know why, but you're dying to try to one kiss the girl. Yes, you want her, look at her, you know you do. Possible she wants you to. There's one way to ask her. It don't take a word, not a single word to wanna kiss the girl. Sha-la-la-la, my oh my, look like the boy's too shy, ain't gonna kiss the girl. Sha-la-la-la-la, ain't that sad, and it's a shame, too bad he's gonna miss the girl. Now's your moment, standing here in Edinburgh Zoo. Rendell better do it soon, no time could be better. It don't take a word, not a single word to wanna catch my sister. It's a little bit funny, this feeling inside. Not one of those who can easily hide. Don't have much money, but if I did, I'd buy a big house where we both should live. So excuse me for getting these things I do. See, I've forgotten if they're green or they're blue. Anyway, the thing is, what I really mean, yours are the sweetest eyes I've ever seen. And you can tell everybody this is your song. It may be quite simple, but now that it's done, I hope you don't mind, I hope you don't mind that I put down in words how wonderful life is while you're in the world. I hope you don't mind, I hope you don't mind that I put down in words how wonderful life is while you're in the world.
Well done. Really a bit too good, actually. Well done. Fantastic. So, where does Lindsay and Ewan's story first start that leads us to today? Well, Lindsay and Ewan first met when they were 14 and shared a really close friendship group, most of whom are here today. They often wondered if their paths crossed at any point before high school, but as they went to neighbouring primary schools, they were naturally sworn enemies. Lindsay recalls that boys from Dalgety Bay Primary looked weird and so must have smelled funny too. And Ewan's opinion of Donny Bristle pupils, well, they aren't that bright. But as fate would have it, their paths crossed at high school, and the rest, really, is history. Lindsay's first impression of Ewan was that he always looked like he'd just come out of the shower. This was back in the day when excess hair gel was in fashion. But she dug that at the time. Ewan's first impression of Lindsay was that she was blessed with the assets every teenage guy looked for. Those being she had a great sense of humour, enjoyed decent movies and took part in all the guys' antics. Ewan asked Lindsay out when they were 16. It was, of course, pure coincidence he asked her the day after her birthday. And it had nothing to do with him avoiding buying a present, or that's what he claims anyway. High school dating consisted of house parties and trips to Pizza Hut, where you could get a refillable jug of Pepsi for the table, every teenager's dream. Ewan could manage 8 jugs in one sitting, which was naturally on Lindsay's list for her ideal boyfriend. A big fan of Jackass series, Lindsay realised pretty quickly that Ewan fancied himself as a bit of Johnny Knoxville. His ability to jump through hedges without breaking a leg, of chapping on neighbourhood doors without getting caught, was something pretty special. At 16, Ewan more or less had moved into the Baird house, eating his way through the freezer and pretending he enjoyed watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer on repeat. Lindsay's parents would regularly get calls at the door asking for Ewan to come out. But after high school, they went their separate ways, pursuing their ambitions. And over the next 5 years, they gradually lost touch with each other, apart from the occasional message over social media. Following graduation, Lindsay returned to Dalgety Bay, and as they shared similar friendship circles, their paths crossed on a night out. It quickly became apparent there was still something special between them, and they started spending time together. It wasn't long before Ewan was back on the couch watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer. During the early days of the second round of dating, they enjoyed some standard new couple excursions. Mini golf at Halbeath, Anstruther for a chippy, Blair Drummond Safari Park, and of course, a visit to Pizza Hut to reminisce on the high school days, though they'd stopped the refillable Pepsi's jugs by then, sadly. The great difference in dating as adults was that they didn't rely on their parents to drive them to the cinema. They noticed other changes too. Conversations had taken a weird turn. Instead of the usual high school chat about who slept in the field last Friday, careers, engagements, and car insurance were now in the mix. But it didn't take them long to realise this time it was forever. Bigger adventures followed, including buying their first home together. It was a long, exhausting process that they couldn't have done without the help of their family and their friends. And it became clear that they were a good team, bringing together two minds that could see the world quite differently at times, though. Ewan made sure Lindsay didn't knock down all the support walls, and Lindsay made sure Ewan didn't paint everything beige. They didn't quite make it onto grand designs, but they've made a home together that they're both proud of. It's been a happy 4 years since, spending time travelling, enjoying each other's company and learning new things about each other. As 30 approached, Lindsay wondered if Ewan had any plans to get married. This became a bit of a joke between the two of them, with 2 years running, like clockwork, before every birthday, holiday and Christmas, even before the occasional outing to Skitos, Ewan would assure Lindsay he was not planning to propose, so not to get her hopes up. Even 2 years ago, when he gave her a sapphire ring for Christmas, it came with a tagline, "This is just a regular ring." So you can imagine the shock and surprise when the long-running joke came to an end and Ewan finally popped the question. Unbeknownst to Lindsay, Ewan had known for a while he was ready to propose and started saving for an engagement ring. Ewan's proposal plan unfortunately hit a speed bump when Lindsay organised a family trip to Florida. Ewan at first said he couldn't go as he knew it would set back the proposal, and Lindsay couldn't understand why someone in their right mind wouldn't want to go to Disney World. Finally, by August last year, even after an unforgettable trip to Florida, Ewan bought the ring. He wanted it to be a surprise, so casually asked Lindsay if she wanted to go for dinner in South Queensferry the following week. There was food involved, and so, not surprisingly, she agreed. Ewan was worried Lindsay would be suspicious when he wore a particularly large jacket to conceal the ring on what was a beautiful night. After the meal, Ewan suggested that they go for a walk along the waterfront and guided Lindsay to the end of the pier. With the fourth rail bridge lighting up the sky in front of them, Ewan got down on one knee and asked Lindsay to marry him. Within a few words, he summed up beautifully why they should be together forever. Lindsay was surprised and emotional, especially after joking about engagement for so long, but after a few seconds remembered at last to say yes. She forgot to take the ring at first, so Ewan took it out and placed it on her ringer, which was probably for the best, as a beard with a diamond ring next to a pier could most likely end in disaster. Lindsay said she was glad he waited, as she's never seen such a perfect ring, and it reminds her every day of what kind of thoughtful person she's marrying. And of course, marriage, though, is an important and a serious commitment, not one to be entered into lightly. So I asked them why get married, and what were their hopes and aspirations for the future. And they told me that after knowing each other for 16 years, they're entering this marriage with absolute devotion and trust. As best friends, they look forward to spending the rest of their lives together and raising a family in a loving and happy home. And shortly, we'll come to the part of our ceremony where Lindsay and Ewan will make their vows and their legal declarations. But today is also about family and the joining of two families together. Today we bring together not just two people in a union, but two families. And Lindsay and Ewan want to recognise the role of all of you, their friends and their family, in helping them as individuals and as a couple get to this point here today. Especially though we'd like to say thank you to the parents for the love and support that they've given them, as this has meant so much to them, as is the knowledge that love and support will continue in the future. Weddings, though, are shrouded by tradition and symbolism. One such element that has its origins with the Highland clans is that of handfasting. In the days of the Highland clans, when the bride and groom exchanged their wedding vows, their hands were likely bound by cloth or even tartan. If you ever wondered where the expression tying the knot comes from, well, now you know. It's a symbolic gesture showing that the couple are joined to one another. And so to continue this ancient tradition and to recognise again this is not just a union between two people but two families, could I firstly ask you, Lindsay, to pass your flowers back? I can ask you to step down. Enjoy them. Can I now ask Lindsay's mum, Pat, to step forward, pass me our first ribbon, made for tartan representing her family. And could I now ask Ewan's mum, Elaine, to step forward and pass me our second ribbon, made for tartan representing her family. And before making their knots, we now come to the central part of our ceremony this afternoon, when Lindsay and Ewan will exchange their vows of commitment as their hands remain joined. And I'll now ask them, having considered their marriage alone and together, are you ready to take your vows?
We are. I promise to love and care for you, and I will try in every way to be worthy of your love. I will always be honest with you, kind, patient and forgiving. But most of all, I promise to be a friend to you for the rest of our lives.
Thank you. Lindsay, do you furthermore vow to let Ewan enjoy more than one drink on a night out? When possible, of a pummeler.
I promise to love and care for you, and I will try in every way to be worthy of your love. I will always be honest with you, kind, patient and forgiving. But most of all, I promise to be a friend to you for the rest of our lives.
Thank you. Ewan, do you furthermore vow to let Lindsay have full control of the TV remote during the Great British Bake Off season? Lindsay and Ewan, you have bound yourselves together by these vows, and a bond is made by your love for each other. It's a bond that ties but does not bind, and one that is sealed by your love and by the love we have for you as individuals and as a couple. This hand fastening the knot you create symbolises the fact that together you're stronger than you are individually. And so may the bond between you never come undone through the joys or sorrows that you may face together. Would you now please step back and form your knot? Lindsay and Ewan will now make their legal vows and exchange wedding rings. The wedding ring is a circle that has no beginning and has no end. It symbolises both unity and infinity, and is a reminder of the promises made and the promises received. Andy, would you please pass Ewan's ring to Lindsay? I, Lindsay.
I, Lindsay.
Accept you, Ewan.
Accept you, Ewan.
In marriage.
In marriage.
To be my lawfully wedded husband.
To be my lawfully wedded husband.
I give you this ring.
I give you this ring.
As a token of my love.
As a token of my love.
I, Ewan.
I, Ewan.
Accept you, Lindsay.
Accept you, Lindsay.
In marriage.
In marriage.
To be my lawfully wedded wife.
To be my lawfully wedded wife.
I give you this ring.
I give you this ring.
As a token of my love.
As a token of my love.
Lindsay and Ewan, you have now both made a solemn and binding contract, and by virtue of these declarations made in my presence, and in the presence of both your witnesses and your guests, I have great pleasure in declaring that you, Lindsay, and you, Ewan, are now married, husband and wife. Congratulations. Celebrate, party, relax, enjoy good company and have that drink. And I'm sure you'll join me in wishing our happy couple our best wishes for the future. And so to do this, can I invite you, if you're able to, would you please be upstanding? As I invite Lindsay and Ewan to light their third candle now, this candle represents their union, their marriage, life, and vitality, and the new beginning together as a married couple. Well done. To Lindsay and Ewan, may your intentions and your commitment to each other remain strong. And may the foundation of your relationship be love and respect. Remember this day and those who came to wish you well, the words you've spoken and the love that you've declared. Go forward in your life together with the good wishes of all those who love you and live happily ever after. Ladies and gentlemen, can I now ask you to welcome with your applause and cheers as I introduce them to you for the very first time, Lindsay and Ewan, as husband and wife.
I'm afraid you're a fire. I'm the dark in need of light. When we touch, you inspire.
Children are never ever what we think they are. This is especially true of Lindsay, who has always been a blessing, but often an enigma to us as parents. For those of you who just start out on the path of parenthood, you'll soon find out that parenting is not only about protecting and nurturing. It also involves the discovery and understanding of your sons and daughters as they grow and develop. Someone once said, while we try to teach, I can't say anything better than that. Right. Someone once said that while we try to teach our children all about life, our children teach us what life is all about. Being with Lindsay from the moment she was born has been a joyous voyage of love and discovery. Lindsay has always possessed great empathy, along with a love and kindness for friends and family, often putting the happiness and welfare of others before her own. When she was 3 years old, her fingers were accidentally caught in the door as it was being closed. Pat was so upset, she sat Lindsay on her lap and cried. Lindsay, forgetting her pain, began hugging Pat, consoling her, albeit with bent fingers. Lindsay can be practical, yet naive, prepared, yet disorganized, and always able to improvise when the need arises. Throughout her life, we have looked on in wonder, wondering what is going through Lindsay's mind. She takes lateral thinking to a whole new level, putting her mother and I on a steep learning curve, trying to keep up with her logic, which is more often than not profound and correct. For example, in her first year of high school, Lindsay missed a school bus and had to take the service bus home instead. Unfortunately, she had no experience of public transport, and though she successfully got on the bus, she seemed to lack the required knowledge to get off at Dalgety Bay. The result was an unscheduled trip to the neighbouring village of Aberdour. With no idea how to get back home, she used her ability to improvise and proceeded to seek out the house of one of my work associates who lived in the village. Knocking on his door, Lindsay sobbed out her story to my bemused colleague, who promptly brought her home. Lindsay has been a blessing from the moment she was born. She has shown a wisdom and compassion beyond her years, often giving good advice and stilling troubled waters. Someone once said that daughters hold our hands for a little while, but hold our hearts forever. A daughter may outgrow your lap, but she will never outgrow your heart. Lindsay's presence in her home is greatly missed, but we are happy that these blessings are now shared with Ewan, a caring and loving person himself, who brings to their home a strong commitment to work and family. So it is with great pleasure that I ask you to stand and join me in wishing Lindsay and Ewan a long and happy life together. To Ewan and Lindsay. Nearly lost it. Thank you! Thank you!
Thanks, Alex, for those kind words. Hope I can live up to them and that the best men aren't about to change your mind. Well, my wife and I would like to welcome and thank everyone for being here. The day wouldn't be the same if we didn't get to spend it with all you guys. We'd like to give a special mention to Lindsay's aunt, Margaret and Kathy, for travelling all the way from Canada. Before I go any further, I'd like to apologise for those who are expecting to see penguins walk down the aisle or a sea lion show mid-ceremony. But I'm sure as the night goes on, we'll see monkeys swinging from the lights and the odd cougar on the dance floor. So we've been planning this wedding for months now, and when I say we, I mean Lindsay. She's done such a great job, but we couldn't have done it by ourselves. Both sets of families have supported us from the day we got engaged. It's also worth pointing out that if it wasn't for them, the mince pies probably would have been from Aldi rather than M&S. We'd like to give special thanks to Lindsay's parents, Pat and Alex, for welcoming me into the family with open arms. I felt like I was part of the Baird clan long before we got engaged. Being part of the Baird clan is a great honour, as it involves regular roast dinners, birthday buffets, in-depth debates about things that don't require in-depth debate, and of course, holidays to Florida. I'm fairly sure Lindsay knows her way around the Disney parks better than Dalgety Bay. Before I proposed to Lindsay, it was important to me that I got her parents' blessings first. And I thought because I've known them for so long that this would have been relatively easy. So on my way home from work, I nipped round her house. It actually turns out this was pretty nerve-wracking. When I got to the door, I had to count myself down to ring the doorbell. 3, 2, deep breath. 3, 2, 1. Once I got in, I think they were shocked to see me. I think Alex's first thought was that I was in there to borrow his lawnmower. But thankfully they said yes, and we're here today. Probably would have been a bit awkward otherwise. Now, over to my parents, and I'm lucky enough to have 2 sets. I'd like to thank you guys for giving me such a good upbringing. If I ever needed anything, you were always there for me. Mum, you're the type of person that always puts your family first. Although in the past I have got you a little bit worried. But this is usually before I go on a night out. Steve, I know you've always had my best interest at heart, and I'm sure I've tested you a few times. I also know that you would do anything for my mum, and that's something I hope I can do for Lindsay. Dad, you've always been there for me when I needed advice, particularly with cars. I'm sure it got to the stage that every time I phoned my dad it was, what's wrong with the car now? Fairly, my latest car's been a bit more reliable. And Janet, you've definitely been there for me in my times of needs. I remember when I was younger, I stupidly told my dad I could drink him under the table. I literally ended up under the table. But thankfully, Janet was there to look after me for the rest of the night. Yeah. So, Mum, Pat and Janet, in order to say thank you for help with the wedding and the love and support over the years, Lindsay and I have got flowers for each of you, which the venue staff are going to hand out now.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Lindsay. Thank you, they're lovely.
So, before we get to the members of the wedding party, I'd just like to give a special thanks to Lindsay's brother Ewan. I know we sent you quite a daunting task today, but you absolutely smashed it.
Yeah.
Trying my best. Well, I think I managed, but trying my best not to cry. But yeah, so thanks, Ewan. It was unbelievable. Yeah. So now over to the bridesmaids, and I'm sure you all agree that they look absolutely beautiful today. They've been such a great help whilst planning this wedding. From organising Lindsay's hen do, which managed to incorporate Lindsay's two favourite things, shark movies and afternoon tea, to helping create the wedding bouquets, and also helping Lindsay dress shop. I'd also like to give a special mention to Yvonne, as her and Laura helped create and design our wedding invitations. Can I ask you all to stand and give toast to the bridesmaids? The bridesmaids. So, on to the groomsmen.
Yeah!
Firstly, I'd like to thank my ushers, Steve and Ryan, mainly just for making it here today. I'm sure the day wouldn't have gone quite as smoothly without you guys. Then there's the other two, my best men, Andy and Murray. Unfortunately, Andy Murray wasn't quite available, so I think it's probably a bit too early to thank you guys, and I should maybe wait another 10 minutes. But I guess in the meantime, I'd like to thank you for organising the stag. I enjoyed most of it, can't remember parts of it, and would like to forget the rest. So, now I think it's about time that I talk about the most important person in the room today. My new wife. I can't express enough how beautiful you look. And when I saw you walk down that aisle, I just thought, wow, how have I managed this? We first got together when we were in high school, and since then, you've always been the one. You're the most loving, fun, and caring person I've ever met, and I can always be myself around you. Even if it's doing silly dances around our kitchen, or you putting up with me singing the wrong words to basically every song. I love that you always put others first, even if it's not the best for you, but I promise you will always come first to me. I'd also like to tell you that I'm proud of you. Over the past few years, you've worked so hard to become a teacher, and I know how great a job you're doing for the thank you cards you've had from kids. I can't wait to spend the rest of my life with you, and I look forward to our future adventures together. Can I ask you all to stand and give toast to my beautiful bride?
Lindsay.
The bride. Oh. So, just before I wrap up, I'd like to give a special thanks to everyone that's helped today, but I haven't mentioned, particularly my cousin Craig, who, even as a guest, has been filming the day for us. So thanks, Craig. Thanks to venue staff. Thanks, Mike. Thanks very much. Okay, now the part I've been dreading most. Only because I know these guys tell so many lies. Whatever you hear for the next 10 minutes or so, just remember that's probably almost all fiction. Or at least I wish it was. So I hope you all enjoy the rest of your day, and hope to see you all on the dance floor later.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you who don't know us, I am Andy and this is Murray, and we are Ewan's best men. Now in life there's a saying that often is said that says, a problem shared is a problem halved. However, with Ewan inviting two best men, I think his problems have doubled. Having been friends with Ewan for over 15 years, nobody is happier than Murray and I to see Ewan a married man. And that's largely because he's no longer our responsibility, it's now Lindsay's. Now, of course, as customary at most wedding speeches, I would like to start off just saying a few thank yous. So first of all, to the bridesmaids today, as Ewan says, you all looked absolutely beautiful, Laura, Emily and Elliot. Somewhere for that. So you've done a fantastic job leading up to the wedding, and also today to really settle Lindsay's nerves. Personally, I can't think of anything more nerve-wracking than the prospect of me married to you. But, you're here now, so... Okay. Secondly, to Ryan and Steve, the two ushers, again, great work leading up to the wedding, and of course today you've done a fantastic job in feeding, transporting, and helping you get dressed, which, for those wondering, does take up to 4 people. And finally, I'd like to finish off by saying a massive sort of compliment to Lindsay. You look absolutely beautiful today, you really do, and I think everyone would agree with me with that. And you know that he's a very, very lucky man.
Hi everyone, I'm Murray. Ewan and I became friends much later in high school. It wasn't towards the actual end of high school where we shared a couple of computing classes that we got quite close. In reality, Ewan's a bit of a geek. He always was when he was younger. He was really into his computer games, occasional drink, and that's kind of who he was. It was always really surprising to me after seeing just how much Ewan actually managed to procrastinate in high school that he actually decided to do a joint master's degree at Edinburgh Uni doing accounts and economics. Now, for some of you that may not actually know, this wasn't exactly plain sailing for Ewan. After a few months of what can only be classed as very, very little effort, Ewan tried to change his course and was told he wasn't allowed to do it. So, as you can imagine, he tried very hard to pass his exams. Or at the very least, that's what he told his mum.
He did try,
In reality, he kind of realised quite quickly that he was never going to actually pass any exams. So he actually stopped trying. After he lost his part-time job in... it's not nice. After he lost his part-time job in Powerhouse, Ewan actually became a bit of a hermit. He didn't really like to leave his room very much. And, now at the age of 30, not a huge amount's actually changed. He did, however, in first year university, become an expert player at Championship Manager. You were quite good at it. Always lost to me, but you were good. And he actually fancied himself as a bit of a part-time mobster. Now, because Ewan actually lost his job, he had to get another source of income. So he actually started doing a little bit of work for the mafia. Ewan actually started to sell guns, drugs, and prostitutes on a daily basis. Now, before any of you get too concerned for Lindsay's safety, this was actually just an online computer game, so don't get too worried. He said he did, however, once manage to spend his entire £900 student bursary 4 hours after he got it playing this game. Now, as I'm sure you can all imagine, his end-of-year exams didn't go so well. But in case any of you are actually wondering, you do actually get 5% for turning up and writing your name on a bit of paper. Now, to this day, I am utterly convinced that Elaine was drugged when Ewan sat her down and said, "Can I go back to university in this year and try again?" Were you?
Yes. We were in the pub.
Now, the only condition of this was Ewan had to go back to primary school. And by this, I mean he had to give a copy of his timetable to his mum so that she could ensure that he actually went to his lectures. Now, this actually began the longest running game of hide-and-seek known to man. Now, being an accountant, Ewan has a fairly good grasp of numbers. And it wouldn't be too surprising to learn that he had figured out to the minute the earliest time he could arrive home, assuming he'd actually went to one of his lectures. What he actually did during this whole time was hide at my house. And to make matters worse, on multiple occasions, he actually had 2 dinners, one at my house and one at your house. I'm actually a little bit surprised that my parents aren't here today, considering they put a roof over your head for 2.5 years. Now, the recurring theme for Ewan throughout his life is he never seems to quite learn his lesson. Now, as I'm sure... As I'm sure Stephen Elaine will remember, there was one particular night you had to come collect Ewan when he was a little bit too merry after a night out.
In Dunfermline.
Yep. What you guys don't know is that he was arrested the week after for the same thing. Now, as I'm sure most of his friends will be able to tell you, Ewan when he's drunk is a bit of an arse. Sorry for the language, but it's true. On this particular night, I actually got a phone call about 2 hours after I'd arrived home, expecting the usual drunken gambling, saying, "Where are you?" because we normally always left him because he would never leave. And we got a rather stern conversation from the police asking what his name was and where he stayed. It turns out he wouldn't actually tell them because he was too worried about what Elaine was going to do. He could be heard muttering in the background, "My mum is going to kill me."
And that'll be later on.
Or Murray.
Fortunately for him, I managed to convince them to actually drop him off at my house rather than yours. And it's the one and only time in my life I've had to sign a document that says I am responsible if he dies. And I'm so happy to say that now you've signed on the dotted line, this is your problem now. Now, I know what you're all thinking, that surely twice is enough. He says, but with you, never. It says it was a short time after this you managed to break your jaw in 3 places and you don't know how. But I think that's a story for another day. I'm going to finish up by saying, let Lindsay in a little secret. If you ever want to get Ewan home from a night out when he's had a little too much to drink, just tell him you have food. If you don't have any food, you can always improvise. You can always wander outside, dig around a couple of bushes, and try and find a half-eaten steak bridie, because he will eat it. Won't you, Ewan?
Now, I know what you're all thinking, he sounds like an absolute nightmare. And he absolutely is. But put the drunken Ewan aside, he's actually a very nice, genuine, intelligent and generous guy. In fact, on a recent trip away with his friends golfing, he was so generous he left a wallet with €300 on the plane seat for the next customer to have. But no, it's okay, because he did actually remember, so it's fine. But unfortunately, when he remembered, it was 3.5 hours later when he was asleep in his bed at the hotel. So unfortunately, he never got that back. The one good thing on Ewan's part is, though, that he's managed to keep up his record of losing either a mobile phone or a wallet once a year for the last 10 years. What is more ironic, though, is he actually works as the head of finance for a large multinational dealing with millions and millions of every single day, but he can't look after his own possessions. Now, one particular trait of Ewan's that we really admire is his ability to learn new skills. He's always looking to learn with maybe a professional degree or perhaps language skills. He demonstrated to us actually one time on holiday just how well he can pick up a new language and apply it in a real life situation. So we were in this bar and Ewan constantly got refused service, probably because he was too drunk. So he came back to us and he said, "Guys, how come you keep getting served so quickly?" To which Steve over here said, "Well, in Spain there's a little trick. When you go up to the bar, you shout, 'Mi chica, mi chica,' and what will happen is they'll serve you quickly." So armed with this new information, Ewan headed back to the bar. And a few minutes later we looked over, and as is often the case when Ewan is out and about, he made lots of new friends, and he was sharing his new intel with this big group of guys. So as we looked up, we saw Ewan and about 12 big tough English guys shouting, "Mi chica, mi chica," really, really loudly, which loosely translates to, "I'm a girl, I'm a girl." Much to the amusement of us as friends, the bartenders and the local Spanish people. That's probably the last time that Ewan has taken advice from his friends without next double checking on Google to make sure it is actually accurate. So what I would like to do is I'd like to finish off with some proper, genuine advice from one married man to another married man on how you can lead a long and successful marriage. So a couple of different little tips. So firstly, unfortunately, you will never be right again, okay? So if you think you're right, you're wrong. Even if you know you're right, you're wrong. So basically, in marriage, it's a relationship where only one person is always right and the other person is the husband. Secondly, the 50% rule. So if you're buying yourself any new toys like golf gear or expensive stuff, always drop the price that you tell Lindsay by 50%. Unless, of course, you're buying something for her, and then you can double it. Number 3 is to keep your wife happy. Okay? 2 things are necessary to keep your wife happy. The first one is to let her think that she's having her own way. Okay, very important. And the second one is to let her have her own way. Okay? And number 4, and probably the most important one, is to make sure that you enjoy every minute and look after each other. Okay? It's not going to be plain sailing all the time, but you guys are a wonderful, wonderful couple. You're dear friends, and I'd like to wish you all the best and a lifetime of happiness together.
Well done, guys.
One last little bit. One last little bit.
As you can all probably tell, Ewan's been fairly central to a lot of drama over the years, but I don't think any of us would actually want it any other way. It says, over the years you've been a fantastic friend to Andy and myself, and we're absolutely ecstatic that you and Lindsay are finally tied the knot, because the whole Ross Rachel thing for 15 years has been getting a bit tired. I'm also incredibly honoured that you actually picked us to be your best men here today, and you actually trusted us enough to make sure you didn't fall asleep in the toilet. I feel people missed that because you spoke. I'm glad you didn't make sure you didn't fall asleep in the toilet that one time, like that New Year's party when you fell asleep and missed the bells. So, so with all that said, I would like everybody to stand and raise their glass to Ewan and Lindsay.
To Ewan and Lindsay.
Still your glass. Ewan and Lindsay. Thank you.
Dreams are like angels, they keep at bay. Love is the light scaring darkness away.